Why go to all this trouble and enormous expense? The Delta is the key to California's $30+ billion agriculture industry and the urban water needs of more than 25 million Californians. A failure in this highly pressurized plumbing system, a levee break and flood, could wipe out the critical mechanism for delivering water to demand centers all across the state.
So the way we keep it fresh now is we have to hold all those levees together, because once you open them up, salt water can move in. But the other part of it that people don't realize is that we have to tune the way we run our dams. So we store water behind our dams so that we can release that water to help keep the delta fresh, to basically push back the salt. So a significant chunk of water that we currently store behind our dams, goes to holding the delta fresh so we can use it as a water export facility. That part, rarely considered as one of the consequences of climate change, is first, less of that water will be available, and as sea level rises, more of that water will be needed to keep it fresh all the time.
Climate change confirms what researchers and water managers have long suspected. Current operation of the Delta is simply not sustainable.
Even if a miracle occurs and we can hold the delta together exactly as it is today by progressively raising the levees, and there isn't an earthquake, say, sometime in the next 50 years, that 1 foot rise in sea level is going to translate to a whole lot of salt getting into the system and making it increasingly difficult to pump water out of the delta. If you go to 2100 and a 3 foot rise in sea level, I believe one of my colleagues called it game over. You won't be able to export water as we currently do out of the delta. But frankly, a 3 foot rise in sea level overwhelms the delta. The levee network of the delta can't withstand it.
Every year, the state of California spends billions of dollars to build and maintain infrastructure, purchase sensitive habitat, and fight wildfires. Dealing with the additional demands of climate change will add another dimension to resource management.
Don Andrew, the Department of Water Resources Executive Manager for Climate Change, cautions adapting will not be simple or easy. He suggests a portfolio approach.
We need to look at a wide array of water management strategies. It can't just be dams, it just can't be water conservation, it just can't be water transfers. Those are all very important, but we're going to need a little bit of everything to get us through the uncertainty that's coming for climate change. We need to look at more recycled water, probably some more desalination, more groundwater management, conjunctive use, the coordinated use of surface water and groundwater management. And these are all things that each local and regional water agency ought to be looking at for their portfolio of water management strategies.
City and county governments all across the state are looking for creative and effective adaptation strategies. Increasingly, they turn to the California Climate Action Network.
There is no one silver bullet, society-wise or city and county-wise, to address climate change or to adapt to the changing climate. That's why our program looks at a wide variety of subjects and activities so that cities and counties can pick those that make sense for their community. What's going to work in Los Angeles is not going to work in Arcata. Different parts of the state, different climatic situations, certainly different size communities. And that's the challenge, but it's also, I think, the exciting part.
From state adaptation strategies to city and county partnerships and programs, responding to climate change ultimately trickles down to individuals, the 35 million of us who draw on the state's water supply every day. What can we do? Plenty. Conserve water, conserve energy, reduce your carbon footprint. There are countless ways for you to make a difference.
To learn more, log on to an ever-growing number of websites that offer a wide range of information on climate change. Rising temperatures, extreme climate variability, rising sea levels, all of these things are certain and are sure to be extremely expensive. New research projects the cost of climate change somewhere between $300 million and $3.9 billion each year. The actual cost will ultimately depend on how much California warms and how well we adapt.
Climate change is not a wipeout for California. And the reason is pretty straightforward. We actually have a lot of adaptive capacity here. And that is that climate change is going to happen overnight. It's going to happen incrementally and slowly. And we have the ability to adapt to much of this and still maintain a vibrant economy. There's still going to be a lot of water here. And markets and the ability to move water around to demand centers are really going to be a significant part of our adaptation to climate change. Reoperation of our dams, that's going to be a part of climate change. We're going to have better science, better forecasting. That'll be part of our adaptation. A planned retreat from parts of the Delta, that'll be part of our adaptation. And we're either going to learn to live without the water from the Delta, or we're going to have to build some kind of isolated facility, a peripheral canal. That's going to be an adaptation. We have tremendous adaptive capacity here, and in this nation state that we call California. And climate change is not the end of the world here. It will be expensive, it will involve some pain and suffering and dislocation, but we'll adapt. It's not the end of the world.